guys won't stop talking.
And you can pretty much do it
Dozer and Mazz.
in perpetuity.
Yep. The Sports Hub.
We're trying to parse out you hate a team because of how they played, like the current OKC team or maybe that old Houston team with James Harden, or one we were talking about before the show was the 1990s Cowboys, who I hated, flash over substance and all of that. So I didn't like that team, but it had nothing to do with me being a Packer fan or a Patriots fan. So that's like we'll do that a different day. Okay, we'll do that a different day. Teams you just hate to hate because they hated the way they played or the players on them or who they were.
Yeah, because I'd like to put the current Red Sox on that list.
And then we can do a whole nother tiers of the Boston teams you've hated the most.
Definitely.
That's a good tiers.
We might have to do that one in two installments.
So that's one that I look forward to. This is hated rivals, okay? As a Boston fan. Murray, what did Mazz miss?
So this might be a more me thing than anything else, but I consider them a rival, and they had tough games over the near 20 years that he was there. But the fat pervert era Steelers, the Ben Roethlisberger Steelers. Like, I hated those teams. They were typically always big games, primetime games, regular season, some playoff games mixed in. He and they did get you a few times. I hated the Ben Roethlisberger era Steelers.
There's another one that everyone thinks Mazz missed. Ryan in New Hampshire, what did Mazz miss?
LeBron's Heat, especially with the Ray Allen thing at the end of that. They got over the hump, got to the finals through the Celtics after a few years.
LeBron.
Very good.
That's a good one, too.
And you'd have to say,
glaring omission.
Real quick, AJ in Dorchester, LeBron in Cleveland or LeBron in Miami?
I was going to say Miami, but also I think the Matthew Chuck-led Panthers.
Good one.
Had that punk Sam Bennett ended the Bruins regular season, heartbreaking fashion there.
So I guess some Bruins fans feel that way. I think Kevin Majori, I think Bruins fans feel that way. When really all that is jealousy. You want to be the Panthers. You wish your team played like that. You wish your team had Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk. You wish you were the Panthers. So I think it's a little bit of jealousy. I don't know. I don't put I like that Panthers team.
No, this is like what I said about that La Russa era A's team is how I feel about the Florida Panthers. I look at them and be like, I wish I got to root for that because my team stinks.
Okay, but the Cowher era Steelers or the Roethlisberger era Steelers is what you're talking about.
Yeah, more when the fat pervert was there, and again, he'd sometimes get you. Cowher was just with the stupid chin. Like he was more funny than anything else. I hated Roethlisberger.
But you beat them in every big game that mattered. Like, don't you have to have lost to that team? That's why you hated the Shula Dolphins or the Manning Colts, and not that you went back and forth with those two. They got you a couple times, or whatever. The Canadians, the Yankees, like those are the teams you hate. If you beat them all the time, did you hate them? I mean, I know you hate the Jets, but
it's a sub 500 record. But there were that game in late October when they ended up getting the 1 seed, and I know the Patriots got the revenge there in the AFC Championship game when they went there. But that was they lost on Halloween. That one sucked. They came here in 2008, the year Brady's hurt. They get waxed. There was just I hate the Steelers. Like how you feel about Montreal is how I feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, I hate them so much.
What team did you or do you hate the most? Andrew in New Hampshire, go.
Yeah, I hated the Canucks from the Stanley Cup year. Alex Burrows, the Sedin twins, Ryan Kessler. When they lost and the city burned down, those tears tasted so good.
I agree.
They crossed my mind.
That was a hateable team.
Yeah, they crossed my mind. There was a lot of hatred for that team. It was a final. That helps. But they were soft. They were unlikable. They were.
And, remember Roberto Luongo carrying on?
Why isn't he pumping up my tires?
Oh, everyone pumps his tires. No one pumps my tire. And then he, would have all these comments about, well, I play in my net. The other guy's all over the place. And when I come out of the net, you remember all that crap?
Oh, of course.
So that was a hateable team, and you beat them. So I don't know, does that mitigate it a little bit? I think it does. Sam wants our listeners immediately want to go to the Boston teams they hate the most. Sam in the car. Go ahead, Sam.
This is great.
So if we were going to flip that Boston tiers one about Boston teams, I hated the 2011 Boston Red Sox.
Yep.
But going back to the tiers you just have now, I'm going to take the logic you just said about the Bruins wanted to beat the Panthers. I hated the 2008 Tampa Bay Devil Rays because they beat the Red Sox in the playoffs, and I hate them now because the Red Sox are trying to be like them.
The 2011 Boston Red Sox.
One of the all-timers. Yep.
Unquestionably.
Totally, yeah. They were one of the all-timers. And don't undersell the 01 Red Sox either. That was a freaking...
No, they've got a bunch on the list.
But every 10 years, they get one that you want to, take the gun, leave the cannolis.
Are we with this one? Is this one of them, Murray?
The 2011 Red Sox?
No, the 2026 Boston Red Sox.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I hate this team. I like 2 players on this team, Connolly Early and Peyton Tolley. The rest of them you can have.
How about Tom in the car? Go ahead, Tom.
Definitely 86 Mets. 40 years later, still devastating. Nothing like it in sports in Boston.
Good one. 86 Mets. Do some more blow, you freaking donkeys. I hated those kind. So I had a thing where, because you know me, this makes perfect sense to me because I'm no fun. And I'm not into flash and I flash over substance, So I put on that, like in that grouping of teams, the Miami Hurricanes college football team from the Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
I hated them. I'm so glad. Whenever they got punched in the mouth, I just loved it. Go dance somewhere else, clowns. The 90s Cowboys, which was kind of an extension of it. The Mets from 1986. Exactly that kind of team. Don't you think they were baseball's kind of equivalent of that?
Oh,
yes.
Unquestionably. The Jeff Pearlman book about them, which I highly recommend because it's really entertaining, is called The Bad Guys Won. They were legitimately bad dudes. Coked up, drunk, bar fights, lawlessness, like that. Those 80s Mets. I think we talked about this.
Don't leave out the perversion.
Yeah, one of the great underachieving squads in sports history. That team was loaded. They should have won like 3 World Series.
Yeah, they were stacked.
So, like those kind of teams, yes, I'm down with that. Noah in Kansas City, what do we got?
Yeah, for most hated Boston teams, 2012 Red Sox is the antithesis and the beginning point of, people defending ownership and trying to, get out from bad moves and stuff like that. I hate that team so much. An omission from Tiers list, though, and it's kind of like an underrated one, but I hated them as a teenager, was like the 08 to 2012 Orlando Magic. Hated Dwight Howard, that stupid Euro prick Hito Turkoglu.
All right, let me just stop you. You hated him just because you hated the team. It had nothing to do with Boston. Right?
They were playing them in the playoffs, so, you did see them. They were one of the Eastern Conference, powerhouse teams.
Fodder.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, the Celtics always got the best of them. But I'm with the caller. They were a hateable bunch. Dwight Howard's such a dork. He'd make a perfect OKC Thunder player right now.
But, again, the caller started with the 2012 Reds. Our listeners are just dying.
They desperately want to do it.
I'm not the monster that breathes fire.
The Boston teams that they hated. Here's Frank in the car with a glaring omission. Yes, Frank.
I'm going to go with the Detroit Pistons with Lambert and Rodman.
So Mazz mentioned that. He called them the Isaiah Thomas Pistons.
Yes.
I would have gone Lambert. I thought Lambert was the poster child for that hatred, what made them such a hateable team. But Isaiah was such a smug, and we know, Isaiah Thomas is a smug prick. It's not horrible to go to Isaiah, but I think more of the tension points were with Bill Lambert, don't you think?
Yeah, I went with Isaiah because he was the best player on the team. That's why I just meant Jeter wasn't all that detestable. I just was trying to pick the face of the team in that era.
So you didn't find Jeter detestable?
No.
Didn't Boston found Jeter detestable?
I don't think so.
I did.
I think they dislike Posada, like some other guys. I don't think they dislike Jeter.
No, they dislike Jeter.
No, because we had Noma, and Noma was better. But no, I hated Paul O'Neill. I definitely hated Jorge Posada because he was a Red Sox killer. He was one of those guys that you look at, they're like, you're just a guy. But anytime the Red Sox played him, he killed them.
Mike in Danvers. Go ahead, Mike.
Ray Ferraro and the Whale. How can we forget about the Hartford Whalers?
Why would I hate?
Here?
Because everyone forgot about the Hartford Whalers.
Yeah,
exactly.
And why would I hate my little nephew that I got to stuff in the locker every 3 years? The Whalers were never a threat.
They didn't make the list.
That was your first and second round fodder. And every now and then, that great series, that one year, they were almost up 3-1 on you, the Milbury year, where they were up 2-1, and then in game 4, they were something up like 5-2 in the third period.
They were down 5-2 going into the third.
One of the great Bruins games of the early 90s. Came back with third period, and you beat them in Hartford and went on to go to the finals, I think, that year. Maybe that was the year you went to the final. You lost to Pittsburgh. Maybe it was the East Finals. I can't remember. It was one of those years. It was the Milbury year.
Dave Poulin scored in overtime. From
his knees. So this is like, you can't hate the Whale. They're your little stepbrother. You gave them a noogie. You got on with your day.
Seriously.
Todd in Walpole has a better example. Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, it's a much better example for the Bruins, and that's the All Samuelson Penguins. The way he did to Neely, and that hate rivalry was freaking brutal.
Sure. Yep.
It's a good one.
That is a good one.
Lemieux, Ulf Samuelsson, Pittsburgh Penguins. Who owned you? And I think that year that we were talking, that after you beat the Whale, they might have gotten swept by Pittsburgh in the next round. I can't remember which year it was. Jerry in Tennessee with an older Bruins one. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Islanders of the early 80s. Billy Smith, Clark Gillies. God, those guys just kicked our ass.
They sure did. Were they hateable?
I mean, the goalie was Chico Resch, right? Didn't he? Oh, no, it was Billy Smith.
Cheap shot artist.
Billy Smith was the one that hacked people with the stick.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean.
But was the Islander, I mean, a little, I must say, it wasn't before my dad. I don't remember. Was Mike Bossy a hateable player? Was he sort of like a, I don't know, classy standard bearer of the league, kind of?
Yeah, Trottier, like Potvin. They were kind of pros.
I always thought so. And you weren't even close to them.
Exactly.
So, what are you talking about here? They were in a different class. Most hateable teams. Dean in Shrewsbury. Go ahead, Jimmy. Pop it up on the final line there. Again, go ahead, Dean. What do you got?
So I think a sneakily team that New Englanders should hate is the 2007 Patriots.
I agree.
They totally underachieved, and they lost to a team that's much inferior than them. And when I think it was Michael Strahan predicted the score was going to be 21-17, Tom Brady laughed it off, and then they scored 14 points, and then they had that stupid 16-0 regular season banner up there in Gillette forever.
Again, I'm just going to cut you off, Dean. Thank you for the call.
He makes great points.
And they cheated.
Go ahead, Murray. Did you hate the 07 Patriots?
No, I don't. I'll forever be annoyed by them. And again, that stupid 16-0 banner made me sick. And Gasper used to love the thing. Oh, I hate. But no, a Patriots team from that era I truly did hate, though, were the 2009 Patriots.
Yes, that was a hateable team.
Oh, yeah. They got booed. Remember, there was a game against Carolina here that they struggled to score, and they were getting booed. They ended up winning, too. It was like 19-10, something like that. But I was there, too. I'm like, oh, they were just a horrible slug to watch. Brady was really never right because he was coming off the injury. They had hateable players again. Adelius Thomas, a checked-out Randy Moss. That 09 Pats team is wretched.
The exercise is Boston rivals that you hate. And these people can't help themselves. Mark in the car. Go ahead.
Yeah, going off of that, the 2011 Patriots, every game was 35-33. It was plastic scoring, plastic defense. Welker dropping the ball in the Super Bowl. They made it all the way there. And then when you think they have it, they still can't make that final stop, the 2011 season. I forget about it. It's a Super Bowl run that I like to forget about. So
Not on my list. I'd go 07. I'd go 09. I'd go maybe the Mac Jones year, even the year they were good. Like when I say good, they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd go 20 through 24.
Yeah, just hateable. Bill was hateable by then, and Mac Jones was not a likable. You would say you hate those teams. That's what I like. This is a tears for another day, but our people can't help themselves.
That one is kind of fun.
Murray just picked a whole 5-year chunk. Seriously, he bought it wholesale.
All right, when we come back, we discuss one of Murray's most hateable Boston teams, the 2026 Boston Red Sox. Yeah. Another bad result last night. We'll talk about it with you coming up right after these words.
Felger, Mazz, the Sports Hub.
High fly, left field, driving back Collins, all the way back to the wall, leaping up. He can't get it. It is gone. He goes Oppo. Jaron Duran strikes again. What a series he's having. And he's put the Red Sox on top. Opposite field into the bullpen for a 2-run shot.
I think they're now in third place in the AL East. A couple games out of the last wild card. Mazz, your thoughts?
So, look, I think to me, I said this to you yesterday, the big thing to me is this is the difference that Jaron Duran can have when he plays well versus when he has his head up his ass. So you have key guys in a lineup that can make every guy look better or worse. Duran was one of those guys for the Red Sox this year. The last couple of nights, he's hit home runs and they've won. To me, that's not a surprise. This is how the game works. It's why you need centerpiece guys in your lineup and why you should be annoyed with the Red Sox for not going to get another one because they needed another one. It puts a lot of pressure on a guy like Duran, and he's not a true centerpiece guy, a capable player. But when you get a good player who's hot and he gets on a run, he can send you off on a little winning streak. Now, again, they're playing the Royals, so I don't want to take it too far. But the fact of the matter is Duran hasn't done jack all year long, and all of a sudden it's a couple of home runs and you win both games. That's not a coincidence.
Murray?
So from May 26th through June 10th, the Red Sox are going to play 5 series and 15 games. 12 of the 15 games are against the Braves, Cleveland, Yankees, and Rays. You win all 5 series, 10 of the 15, maybe I'll believe. But right now, all this is to me is, ooh, you suck, but the American League sucks even more than you do. So big whoop. This is just getting in the way of them flushing out someone like Craig Breslow and making some real changes to the organization. But ultimately, I bet they're happy with this. See, our pitching's good, our defense is good, and we're on our way. It just got off to a bumpy start, but now that we have a new interim manager, things are starting to settle down, and the hitting will find its way too with this suck lineup. I find it detestable. The thing that's even more detestable is that people are I'm starting to see it online. I know I should get off the internet. But, oh, no, they're going to make the playoffs now. See? Oh, no, the Red Sox are... You can't be excited about this. You can't be. Try watching this team. It's so boring. Oh, I hate them.
On this one, I agree with Murray. Usually, I'm just the opposite. Usually, my view of you as a contender is based simply on the one-loss record and your games behind. They're 2 games out of the wild card. That means they're a contender for a playoff berth, which means they're a contender for the championship. That's how I almost always feel. In most sports. In baseball, anyway, but I'm trying to say this one. No. I don't feel that way about this one. I'm with Murray on this one.
Because your eyes work.
Because my eyes work, Murray. I don't believe in the direction of the team. I don't believe in the decision makers on the team. I don't believe in the quality of this roster that they've just built. And the longer they're here at it in their current philosophy, the more you're just going to continue to get this. And them contending, Mazz. Small C, but 2 out of the wild card, is just getting in the way of the ultimate thing that you need, which is major foundational changes here on the Red Sox. Don't we all agree?
Yes.
That if they're going to go back to what we need and you want and true championship contention and true what the fans here deserve, which is a big market, big ball true championship caliber team, box office championship caliber team. That's what the fans here deserve. For that to happen, they have to make major changes. And I worry that as long as they hang around the 3rd wild card, major changes aren't coming. I usually don't feel that way, but this time I do. This is getting in the way. Yesterday I said this is annoying. I'll take it one step further. This is bad for them. This is bad. This is going to get in the way of ultimately what you need, which is, and I'm not saying this is a guarantee that this happens, but it's your only hope, that John Henry wakes up one day, John Henry, and says, you know what? I can't keep doing this. I'm losing business. I'm losing the fans. I can't keep doing this. We have to go back to what we were. That's your only chance. And as long as they're sniffing that 3rd wild card, Mazz, the odds of that happening are less. This is bad. This is not just annoying. It's hurting you. I think this is hurting you.
So I just don't think they're going to change the philosophy independent of what happens. So I don't disagree with your idea. I mean, again, it's sort of the idea of, if they lose to the good teams in the division, then maybe that'll inspire them to change the philosophy. I think they're wed to it. So to me, everybody's kind of stuck here. This is what you got. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. Then, and you know what? Ultimately, I agree with you, Mazz. My scenario was pie in the sky that John Henry wakes up and says, you know what, I'm going back to what we were. I don't think that's going to happen either, okay? But can I at least flush out this nerd for the next nerd and see if the next nerd gets it any better than this nerd? Because I think at base, that's what they need. At least that's what they need. And this gets in the way of that too.
Yeah, so to me, I don't have any faith in Craig Breslow. I didn't have any faith in Chaim Bloom. But if the next guy's a guy that's never run anything before and you bring him in, he's going to make the same mistakes all over again because they all go through their own development. So they don't realize their mistakes until they make them. That's part of the problem. So I'm under no illusion here. What Murray said is right in terms of the next 5 series. I'm not convinced they're going to beat anybody. They haven't won 2 series in a row since early in the year. What makes me think they're going to do it now? And if they are going to do it now, can they sustain it? And can they do it for 120 some odd games or whatever is left? It's less than that. But you get the idea. I have zero faith that this thing has been fixed. And in fact, I think they're digging in even more on this philosophy.
On Jarren Duran specifically, what would you do with Jarren Duran? Murray, what would you do with Jarren Duran?
Oh, I would ship him out. Sell high now. He's getting hot. Let him get hot here over the next week or so, and then sell.
He should have been. Yeah, he should have been gone already. So I'd have traded him 2 years ago. I don't know what the hell they're waiting for. I'm not sure his stock is completely, rebounded yet, for lack of a better term. But if he has a good, 3 or 4 months from here on out, and people say, okay, look, he finished exactly where he did the last couple of years in terms of production, and now you know that this is what the player is, and he's still got a couple of good years left in him, then maybe you can get something for him. I also think that the way Craig Breslow operates, Mike, and maybe this plays to your point about getting another nerd here. The way Craig Breslow operates, he's going to want to hold on to Duran. He overvalues him. People are offering what I think is fair value for what Duran is worth. The Red Sox keep holding out. And I think part of the reason he has struggled and been frustrated, or frustrating, or both, is because he's part of this rotation, or has been, of players in the outfield. They get too many bodies for too few spots.
I just feel differently this time around about the Red Sox. The last couple of years, as Murray has alluded to, I have not sort of dumped on them as they were 3 games out of the wild card. I would say they're 3 games out of the wild card. They're in contention. They're building something. And, okay, let it ride. Buy at the deadline. Like, keep going with this. I was okay with all of that. This year, I feel differently. In those previous years, they were at least a 500 team, right? They weren't sitting there 5, 6, 7 games under 500, being 2 games out of the wild card. They were at least a quote-unquote winning team, if just marginally so.
They had an offense that wasn't anemic. They had an offense that wasn't allowing starting pitchers to get through 4 innings and 16 pitches or whatever the hell it was.
These guys suck.
Right.
and this is a total mirage. This is Mazz pointed this out yesterday. The 3rd wild card in the American League right now has a losing record. So, talk about the illusion of contention. This one's taken to the next level. The illusion of contention in the American League this year. And I hate any little thing that would get them to believe that their methods are working, because they're not. They're not. And these wins, a win like last night, these last couple nights, just get in the way. They just get in the way of the obvious truth of the situation. So this time, no good. I'm with Murray on this one. So mix us in with your tears calls, your basketball calls. Promise, back to you after Big Jim Murray gets you updated.
Mike and Tony have a definite chemistry.
Are they?
100%.
Are they?
Yes, 100. Do I stutter?
Do you consider them the periodic table of sports talk?
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Sorry. We need to blow a gasket.
No. Blow it, baby. Blow it.
Belger and Mazz.
Ron is in Maine on another potential hateable team for the Red Sox, or for Boston, rather. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear.
Sorry.
Good. Early 70s, Earl Weaver's Orioles. They used to come in and kick the Sox up and down the field. Earl would be sitting there puffing on a cigarette at the end of the dugout, back when you could still smoke in the dugout. And they were the first team in professional sports I truly hated, and I still do.
Okay, Ron, thanks for the call, Mazz. Did you hate the Orioles in the 70s?
Not like that, no, and I don't think anyone did. The Orioles went through a period of years there where they were good, not great, were kind of peers of the Red Sox, but it was always the Yankees you were chasing. See, people are now doing this to, talk about their own teams that they hated for some reason, which I'm all for. Okay, I'm all for. But the idea is that the city hated.
Well, at least, no, I just that you hated as a Red Sox fan. Division rival, and let me tell you, There was a little. Wasn't the Orioles one of those teams where it was called the Orioles way for a while?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so there was a little bit of an arrogance there about the Baltimore Orioles for a time that I kind of get. I'm going to allow that, Mazz. I don't think
allowable. I'm just, I don't think it necessarily hits the bullseye, but whatever.
Okay. We can't always hit the bullseye now, can we? Howard and
rarely do.
Here, Howard and Randolph, go ahead.
Yeah, I got three quick ones. The Julius Erving Sixers, the Bobby Clark Flyers, and this year's Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
This year's Maple Leafs, that's funny.
I'll give them the first two. The first two were good. The Bruins did have a thing with the Flyers. That was real. And they were detestable, no question about it. And the Sixers one, massive omission and oversight by yours truly. Remember it because it rarely happens.
Early 80s. Early 80s, Mo Cheeks, that team for sure. Moses. Remember Bird? Moses eats crap?
Yes, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Jack in Texas, what do we miss?
I think I got two for you, gentlemen. One is the Keith Magnuson Chicago Blackhawks and the Jack Tatum Oakland Raiders.
So Mazz had the Al Davis Oakland Raiders, which were the Jack Tatum. That was my suggestion to Mazz, the Jack Tatum, Al Davis Raiders. Mazz kind of had that. The Magnuson Blackhawks, you got to quickly fill me in on that, Jack.
Oh, there was a big thing. Him and Orr, and in those times, they were who the best defenseman was, and they were constantly fighting.
Okay, well, that's just a little, or is just a little bit before my time. I became a Bruins fan. The lunch pail AC, the late 70s Bruins, is when I sort of came of age. The Orr Bruins are just a little bit before my time. So I'll take your word for it. How about Derek and Foxborough on our Red Sox conversation? Yes, Derek.
Yeah, so they started 2-8 under Cora. Since then, they're actually a game over 500. They're 20-19. And so I don't think they're like this worst team ever assembled, like you and Mazz have kind of made them out to be. They have been better under Tracy, and, they haven't had their two best players, Crochet and Anthony, have been injured all year. So wouldn't you rather, them
not all year.
The team?
They haven't been injured all year.
2 starts. Crochet made like 2 starts, and he went on the IL.
What about Anthony?
And Anthony and Crochet were out there the first month plus, and they both stunk.
Exactly. And that's, by the way, that is why you're 5 games under, is because they weren't ready to go at the beginning of the year. So, look, I'll take Crochet. I think made what? Did he make 5 starts?
Yeah, and most of them he got his face ripped off.
That's enough. He could have had an impact with 5 starts.
I'm sorry. If you're genuinely enjoying the Red Sox viewing experience right now, and you're pulling for them to make the playoffs, with all due respect, I don't respect you. Them winning is getting in the way of real change. Just a week or two ago, you have had people, thankfully, showing up to that old dump, chanting, "Sell the team" to the detestable owner. And if that continued, maybe, hopefully, that change would happen. But because they've now snapped off some wins against teams that are somehow even worse than they are, you're going to tell me you're now pulling for pukes like Jaron Duran and Brian Bayo? And they're going to make the playoffs. Get lost. Oh, God.
By the way, Crochet has made 6 starts. They've played 47 games, which means that he was basically there for 30 of the 47. Okay, he missed the last 4, obviously, because it was after his turn. But even so, he impacted those 4 games because he pitched in his 6th start. 30 of the 47 games. He was there for majority of the season.
And so was Anthony, for that matter. And he was out there. He wasn't producing. Who do you hate? Matt in Townsend, go.
Yeah, hey guys. Just wanted to add the late 2000s, early 2010 Lakers with Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, and those guys against the Garnett Celtics.
It's a good one.
Mazz is nodding. You guys concur?
I wrote the name on the list because after people started calling in, I said, "Ooh, that's one I missed too."
Ron Artest, Lamar Odom.
I would call them Kobe's Lakers.
Yeah.
Instead of Magic's Lakers, Kobe's Lakers. And yes, absolutely, they were detestable, no question.
Dennis and Rockland, go ahead.
Hey, I think Mazz did a very, very good job on the tiers, and I want to add one, but I don't know if you've noticed this, but maybe Breslow is a smart, dumb guy because Jaron Duran has more home runs and more runs batted in than either Rafi or Alex Bregman. But getting back to the tiers, I saw the Rangers, and I agree completely with Mazz, but maybe on tiers 2. Back in the 70s when the Bruins were the big, bad Bruins, The Flyers stole a Stanley Cup from them when they were the Broad Street Bullies.
Right. That was another one. You ran into a hot goalie. In other words, you choked. That's one of those I just hate. You know, when you get beat by a hot goalie, you know what you really did? You gagged. And I think Bruins fans and the whole Bruins culture has let the Bruins of the 70s get away with saying, well, what do you want? Ken Dryden stood on his head. Or what do you want? Bernie Parent. It was Bernie Parent in 74, right? For the Flyers. Stood on his head. No. You were better than both of those teams. That was an era in hockey where there were dynasties. You wouldn't win one or two. You would win like 4 or 5. That's the way it worked for the Canadians who followed you. That's the way it worked for the Islanders who followed them. It's the way that worked for the Oilers that followed them. That's the way it worked in hockey. And you only won 2 because you gagged. You choked. Even when the Bruins were winning cups, they were chokers. That 70s Bruins team, here's one. Here's one for your marshmallow sandwich. And I don't know what that means. The early 70s Bruins were chokers. Yeah, they won a couple. They should have won 4. That was the best team in hockey by far. And they twice ran to the hot goalie. No, they choked. They choked.
So, we had a guy call in and say the Flyers. 2 calls later, a guy calls in and says the Flyers.
Permanently banned.
Yeah, it's when the listeners aren't listening.
Permanently banned. So the 70s, when it was just like, that's when the league got out of control with all the fighting and the brawls and everything.
It was great.
So like you had, and that's back in, there was a time you were in the Norris division, weren't you? Weren't we in the Norris with like Minnesota? And I think there was a time the Bruins were in the Norris division. Do I have that right?
I don't think they ever get out of the. Let me check. I don't think they were, Mike, but go ahead. I think they played those teams a lot. Maybe they changed the schedule.
Why do I think, no, they never played in the Norris? Why did I think that? Well, anyway, I feel like, didn't when Wensick challenged the whole bench, wasn't that the North Stars?
Yeah, that was the North Stars. Yes, very good. Yeah.
I want to say you had big brawls with the North Stars. You had big brawls with the Flyers and the Rangers. Like, everyone gooned up. It was like the golden era of goon hockey. So, I think you had a lot of those things with everybody. Even the Canadians got into it during that time and would drop the gloves. So there was a lot of those kind of hockey rivalries in the 70s. Anyway, we're continuing with your most hated team and some Red Sox stuff, and we'll circle back to the Celtics as well as we go forward here on Felger and Mazz. Long commercial-free segment is next.
Oh, yeah!
Thoughts, calls, emails.
Oh, yeah!
I get my jollies out of it. I do. I'm not a good person. Go ahead.
Felger and Mazz.
Oh, yeah!
98.5, the Sports Hub.
With 2 out, man at second. 1-2 pitch. Ground ball chopped to third. Durbin handles that and gets him. And the Red Sox win it. They sweep the series here in Kansas City. Chapman continues to be automatic. 27 consecutive saves for Aroldis Chapman. 4-3 to final.
Well, it was a big game here. Conley early came out and did what he needed. They needed length. This bullpen, especially the back end, was beat up. He did it. Give a lot of credit to Weissert and Moran and, of course, Chapman. But offensively, Jarren Duran, the 2-run homer, early on putting a couple of runs up on this board. But Jarren having a great month, had a great road trip. You sweep this team, you get back, and you start playing better at home.
All right, another Red Sox win that just gets in the way of progress. And you know me, I almost never say this, Mazz. I don't. I don't, the Bruins fans that want the Bruins to lose so Sweeney will get fired, or Murray has felt this way, and Red Sox fans have felt this way for a while. The illusion of contention just sort of clouds what you really are. And I've always been like, no. You almost always want to make the playoffs. You don't want to suck. You don't want to go to the bottom. Give me that middle ground, and I'm fine with that. And we'll see where this all goes. Just because I don't think they're any good doesn't mean they're not any good. And so, I always say that. This year, I feel differently. This year should be a rock bottom moment. The team needs it. The team is due, and the team needs it. They need a rock bottom moment. Planes flying over the stadium that say, sell the team. Fans chanting, sell the team. Paper bags in the stands. It needs that kind of crash, Mazz.
And we were there. It's been so close.
And Murray, you're right. We're right there. We can taste it. They blow out the manager. Feels like the GM's next. They're on short notice. They could just, the whole thing at any moment could just implode, and they could all just wake up and say, oh, this is what we really are. Something has to change. And Mazz, even if, and you're right, I don't think John Henry's really fundamentally going to go back to what he was the first, 15 years of his ownership. I agree with you. At least he'll swap out one set of nerds for the next set of nerds. And the next set of nerds, at worst, will be what Bloom and Breslow are. It can't get any worse. So there's a chance for an upgrade there with, again, a new set of nerds.
As long as it's a proven nerd. Here's all I'm saying to you. I don't want to start over again. That's the one thing I don't want. So if you give me the option of this thing actually turning a corner, like let's say that somehow, and I'm not telling you I believe this, I'm just saying somehow, let's say Anthony comes back, Meyer plays better, like by the end of the year, these guys actually all start to look like big leaguers and they still pitch well, and that to me is a better case scenario. Do I think that's going to happen? Nope.
Well, that's true. That if those young guys start to show what they are, yes, that's what you should be rooting for with the Red Sox. But their current leadership is not good enough.
Brutal, I agree.
And the sooner that gets recognized and swapped out, the better off you're going to be. And wins like last night and this little stretch right here is getting in the way of it. I stand with Murray on this one. Jeff at work on the Red Sox. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just think that the Red Sox, the tickets have already been sold. So everything you guys are saying, I completely agree with. But I want to go back to Mazz's tears and change him to a certain player's, or Boston, a certain player hatred. And like I say, I used to work.
Jeff, who is it, please? Just go ahead. Who?
It's David Tyree, the helmet catch.
Okay, nothing to hate about him. It was a lucky catch. Sorry to dismiss you. Was he hateable? Did he say anything or do anything?
Nope.
No.
And you can't change the tears. That's the whole point. The topic is the topic.
Here's Tears Lightning Round. Matt in Plymouth. Give me the name.
Yeah, I want to change him to likable players.
Go ahead.
Chuck Person led Indiana Pacers in the early 90s.
Good one.
Explain, Mazz. Why do you like it?
Because Chuck Person was a dick. Like that is, and they had playoff series with Indiana too. Indiana was pretty good. The Celtics and Indiana at that time were actually kind of peers, and so there was some good hatred there. I actually loved Chuck Person, but that's a total aside.
No, he and Bird used to get going.
Yes, totally. Yeah, they started calling him the rifle mouth or something like that.
Nick on the road, go.
The Kyrie Irving Nets.
Sure,
that's a good one.
Another good one.
Mo and Milford, go.
The Jason Kidd, New Jersey Nets from the early 2000s.
Sure. When you all chanted wife beater at him. That was a classy moment. Derek, what do you got?
The Jimmy Butler Heat.
Good one.
See,
they've been brought up, though, haven't they?
I don't think they're hateable.
So.
That's a team I just looked at and was like, well, the Celtics certainly aren't as tough as that group. Wish they were, but they're not.
I don't hate them. But I hear it from whiny Celtics fans all the time.
Oh, of course.
Oh, how do you like Heat culture? Now, Heat culture, what have they ever won? Meanwhile, they stuffed you in a locker two or three times having a lesser team. So they treat you like they're bitch, even though you were better than them, which is what you can't handle, which is why Celtics fans do hate the Jimmy Butler Heat, Murray. Make no mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't bother me. That team, I looked at them and was like, I wish I could root for a team with toughness like that.
I love Jimmy Butler.
Tom and Quincy, who'd you hate?
What's up, guys? Hey, first of all, I'm disappointed in Derek and Foxborough. Just going to get that out of the way. But I will say the Bregman-era Astros, and it's only because I hated Altuve, I hated Alvarez, I hated Bregman more than anyone in the world, only because I wish they were on our team. Because going into every time you played them, every series against them, they were going to hit and they were going to kill you. I think Alvarez batted like 600 career in the playoffs against the Red Sox.
Okay, Tommy, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for the call. Mazz, do you think Red Sox fans hate the Houston Astros of this era?
So I think at that time, actually, there was a little bit of tension there. I'd put them tier 3 at best because I think there was some tension, and I do like Tom.
Okay. We'll continue to take your calls. We just we just can't totally surrender it to the tiers, but you can continue to call us. You get a day on it. 617-779-0985. What teams did you hate the most? And the case for the Red Sox, Murray, actually making the playoffs. I know you don't want to hear it, but I think you should hear it. We'll do it after your update. It only takes 90 seconds, and then we're right back.